dóibh go léir an seo inniu, go dtí an baile álinn seo, baile bhíocán. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all here to Newport on what is our first tricentenary celebration. We hope you really enjoy it. Today we are taking a step back in time and we're going to celebrate a journey of 300 years of the building of our town and the growing of our town. First, I'd like to introduce you to three young girls that are here with me today. Abby. Today is Mayo Day and we celebrate being from Mayo and our beautiful town of Newport in County Mayo. And we think of all the people from Newport and from our county who are all over the world. Next, I'd like you to meet Priya. Priya, hold up your lovely flag. This is the flag of the Newport 300. It's a centenary flag that was designed by David Moran for us. It symbolises the bridge, the church, and the railway, three iconic pieces of our town. Our town has grown tremendously for the past 300 years, and we're very proud of it. And we will tell this story today. And finally, I would like to introduce you to Nadia. Nadia has come to be part of our community in the last 8 weeks. To Nadia and all of her family and all of our other fellow people who have come from the Ukraine, I would like to say, Yahupriya, Prividatri, Ukraini, and Newport. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sharon McGrail, and 3 years ago we joined a committee here in the town called the Newport 300 Committee. The role of our committee was to see how could we celebrate the town of Newport, that it was 300 years old. There were lots of meetings and lots of gatherings, and eventually a plan was decided. Unfortunately, COVID put play to our plan and we had to wait 302 years to make the celebration. Today, as part of the Newport 300 Committee, I'm representing the Reenactment Committee. I am the person who decided to say, yes, I'll take this on and work with some very, very talented people in this town. So 2.5 years ago, I went and met Joe McDermott, who's a very historically motivated man, and we started to put our plan together for Newport 300, a journey in time. He in turn put me in contact with a lovely lady called Marguerite Gannon, who's responsible for the Carey-Walsh scene that you will see later on. And then, on an October day, 2 years ago, a couple called Joe and Manuel came to Newport. They're from Sweden, and they happened to arrive here on a fair day and they fell in love with the sheep. It was a lucky day for us because they're the people that have made all the costumes for us here today and all the backdrops. So what's going to happen? Today you are going to experience 3 scenes. The first scene will be here in front of us. It's called the Quaker scene. It's 1720. The Quakers arrived in Newport and Captain Pratt meets them. Captain Pratt has big plans for Newport and he's going to set the town alight. He will be joined by a visionary from Erris, Reenactment Caravan, and they will tell us the story of the next 20 years in Newport. When that scene ends, we will cross the bridge and you will hear the music of the sea shanty coming from the quay. Please take time, there's a big crowd, there's no panic to get across the bridge. We'll allow you all time to move with Captain Pratt and with Green Rua. And the final scene will be at the top of the town. It's 1905 and it's the Carey-Walsh era. So I now invite you to step back with us in time and I give you Captain Pratt.
My name is Captain John Pratt, and I am the Deputy Collector of Revenues for Ireland. Yes, tax. My people come from Cabra Castle in County Cavan, near King's Court. I do have relations living in Ennisco, near Crossmolina. Now, because I have access to all this money for my own personal use, I lease this estate, the Medlicott estate, from the Medlicotts, who are the actual collectors of revenue. I am their deputy. And with this money, I lease this 70,000-acre estate, stretching from Kilmena right around the bay and including great parts of Achill Island. However, it is here, at this place, I intend to build my new port. And to do this, I have invited some Quakers. Excuse me, fine fellow, and who might you be?
My name is Brian Rua Caravan. I'm from Erris, a place called Inver, in the parish of Kilcommon. And I suppose I was blessed with the gift of sight, although sometimes it's a hard cross to bear. But I first saw the coming of the railway. I saw roads across bogs. I saw the day would come when you couldn't tell a man from a woman. And I travelled for 2 days to be here today to find out, Mr. Pratt, what's happening here in the town of Newport, or Ballyvihan as we know it.
So, my good friend Brian Rua O'Caravan, we perhaps will travel a little bit together, but I am awaiting the Quakers, and I think that my Quaker friends, I think we can see them. Can you?
Quakers?
Oh, yes, Quakers. For those of you who don't know, they are a religious society. They are called the Society of Friends. They are deeply spiritual Christian people, but essentially they are great workers. There will be weavers, there will be potters, there will be handloom workers. They will have iron workers. They will grind their own corn, make their own bread. And we have already done some preparation for them. And I do believe here they are.
While I do the introductions.
And yes, my good man, who might you be?
I am John Peck, an elder of the Society of Friends, sometimes called Quakers, and we are pleased to be here in Newport Pratt. We have had a pleasant but hard journey from Rathfiland in Ulster, and we have come to this town, this new town, to set up a linen industry, using our arts and our crafts in the skills of growing flax and weaving. But while my friends get settled, we have questions for thee, if we may.
Ask away, my good friend.
I have 3 business questions for thee. First, where shall we be housed, and does this town have shops?
Well, my friend, as you can already see, this is Medlicott Street, the first street in the town, and I have built some houses for you already. When we complete the bridge, there will be shops on the far side for you to use.
I thank you. And for the flax, where be the flax fields, and where be the retting pool, and where be the bleach yard?
Well, my friend, on the far side of the town, I have discerned a nice lake, and I am going to call that lake Bleachyard Lake, so that you may do your bleaching at that point. We will encourage the farmers to grow flax for you, so that you may continue the process and produce the linen for which you are famous.
I thank you for that. And question 3, where beest the nearest linen hall and the market, and how much trade be done there?
Well, at the moment, the nearest linen hall is in Castlebar, some 15 miles from here. Will that not satisfy you for the
Well,
moment?
for now, that will have to do. I thank you for the information, but my friend here, Mary Evans, hath questions of a more spiritual nature for thee.
Mary?
I am Mary Evans. I am an elder preacher. I am a member of the society, the friendly society, the Quakers as we are known. We live by the Lord, we work by the Lord. We see good in all mankind, we see God in all mankind. For on the 6th day of the 11th month, on the 4th hour, Spirit and saith, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believeth in me shall live forever, and I will raise him up on the last day. For we regard every man and woman as unique. We believe that our men and women are all equal. We believe in hard work, we believe in integrity and peace, and we abhor any type of violence. And we believe in simplicity, for we do not want any type of sophistication. And for that, my dear friend, we need a meeting house, where the word of the Lord will come unto us, for the divine will be within us, and we will hear the word of the Lord. And for our children, we need a schoolhouse, and so our children can learn about the word of the Lord, and they can also learn the Bible and how to become scribes. And for our loved ones, when they pass on, we need a sacred burial ground.
My dear lady, it is my intention that you will have your own meeting house. But for the moment, I must ask you to meet in your own homes, because I have not yet managed to find a suitable place to build your meeting house. And as for a burial ground, yes, that too will follow. But I see you are all hale and hearty, and I do not think you will need a burial ground for some time. As far as a school is concerned, yes, we will provide a school eventually, but for the moment we would ask you to homeschool your children, to look after them in your own homes. Perhaps that would be a good idea.
We thank you. We thank you for the...
And how is my friend? How are these Quakers? How do you see them now, Breen Rua?
Well, did you know, Mr. Pratt, there's to be a wedding?
Ah,
Yes, a Quaker's wedding.
a Quaker wedding.
Yes, it sounds like it's worth travelling 2 days to be at a Quaker's wedding.
I see. Well, I have never witnessed a Quaker's wedding, have you?
No, I have not.
Right. Well, let us observe and see. I think they are about to begin the wedding ceremony. And what are you expecting, my good friend?
Well, I'm expecting a bit of music and food, maybe. Drink even.
Oh, I see, Breen Rua. So you're a man who likes his sup.
Well, I have been known.
So friends,
They are gathering.
there is to be a wedding. Henry Lipscomb is betrothed to Catherine Davis. So friends, let us assemble in quiet contemplation of the marriage.
I see they are gathering. What will happen next, I wonder? No. Perhaps they will adjourn somewhere in order to listen to music, perhaps?
Perhaps.
They are very solemn.
Very soon.
Thinks I see a barrel, perhaps.
Now, let the ceremony be consecrated by the binding of hands. And now that the wedding has been solemnized, let the newlyweds come forward and sign the register. And because our Quaker weddings are not recognized by the established church, let those here who have witnessed the ceremony come sign the register so that we have a legal record.
Does that include us, Mr. Pratt?
Well, I think everybody signs the wedding as witnesses. Perhaps we better wait.
Come forth, friends, to sign.
And brothers, please bear witness to our auspicious day.
Yes, Pratt. We'll let you sign too. And Brian Rua, makest thou thy mark.
Right, I think they have all signed. So, now, we have had a Quaker group of people living here for almost 20 years.
Friends, gather round, gather round.
But methinks that all is not well.
We have been here 20 years in Newport, and yet I feel that times are bad. Crops have failed. Business has been poor. We have no meeting house. We have no livelihood. We must beg to other friends for money. What thinkest thou, Mary Evans?
We have no burial ground, no sacred burial ground, no schoolhouse for our children. What thinkest thou? It is very difficult for us. We have to look to other brethren, to other Quaker brethren, to
So,
help us with this.
would we stay here or should we think of moving? What do you want? It seems let us make a decision. Those in favour who thinks we should go, let us vote by hand. We are agreed then. We are agreed that we shall leave Newport.
Yes.
Get ye busy loading up. I shall tell Pratt of our decision. Greetings, friend.
Greetings, John Peck. And how goes your group today?
Not so well, friend. We have just had a meeting, and we have sad news for thee. We have been here 20 years, and business is not good, crops are not good, the tithemonger does sore oppress us, and we must beg for money.
We have no meeting house, dear friend. We must meet in our small houses. For the Lord said, wherever you gather one or two of you in my name, there am I in the midst. And the Lord is our shepherd. There is nothing we shall want. Fresh and green are the pastures where he gives us repose. We cannot meet other Quakers, and our young people are unable to meet young market suitors. It is causing us great trouble. So we will move on to Ballymurray with our other Quaker brothers and sisters in County Roscommon. So we must bid thee, dear friend, farewell. And we must bid farewell to Newport Pratt.
Farewell, friend.
Farewell.
Friends, let us away to Roscommon.
The year is now 1740. Mr. Pratt's great business idea has failed. His little workers have left. And all the money that he had gathered on behalf of the Queen, he has lost. Sad, isn't it? But worse than all of this, Mr. Pratt's 2 sons have been drowned in a tragic accident in a lake in the Phoenix Park. So Captain Pratt is a broken man. Tell me, Mr. Pratt, what happened after this? Because we can see there is a town here. What happened after this? Why not come and walk with me and talk with me?
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, you are correct, Breen Rua. After my time and my tragedies and my unfortunate losses of government money, I left. And behind me came other men. The lease of the Medlicott estate reverted to the Medlicotts, and they appointed other land agents, most notably James Moore, who was a very successful land agent and who lived here in the town and managed the estate. He is buried in Knockavilly, Glebe, in the graveyard there. But like many others, and given the time that it was in the 18th century, he had no sons, and therefore no one to inherit his role. And so the estate was to pass on to other people. Imagine who that was. And myself and Breen Rua will make our way now across the bridge, and we will tell you what happened next in this story. Yes, now Breen,
yes.
Tell me, you had great visions for this town.
Yes.
Tell me some of them.
Well, you see this railway viaduct?
I do indeed.
Yes, well I foresaw that, but when I prophesied that the first and the last train would carry dead people. And all the people here today are witness to that. That came to pass.
Indeed.
Yes, and see that hill?
I
where
do.
the church stands?
Yes.
I slept out there, and I prophesied that a church would be built at that spot.
I see.
Not this church, but the one before it.
And it was called?
St. Joseph's.
St. John. And this one is called?
This one is called St. Patrick's Church.
I see. Right. Well, now, as we cross the bridge, do I hear the sound of singing in the distance? Do I hear the sound of children's voices? Perhaps, because I believe we are about to witness the second event. We are about to witness the arrival of the Cathach of St. Columkill, which was brought here by the O'Donnell family to Newport, where it resided from the year 1805 until the year 1843.
The Cathach.
The Cathach. Called the Cathach because it was a book of psalms kept in a shrine, and that shrine was carried into battle. It was called the Cathach. So, let us go and see if Sir Neil O'Donnell and his cohorts and his people and his singers and the monks and the captain of the ship will bring the Cathach up from the quay to Newport House.
I know all about the O'Donnells, of course.
Well, you know, that's the interesting thing. I said to you earlier, the O'Donnells would be the next great family to arise in Newport. These O'Donnells, I think, were from Donegal.
Oh, yes, Donegal. I know all about it.
And indeed, my good friend, they remained a powerful family in Newport for quite some time. Do we hear them?
There is just one thing that's on my mind. I met young Grania Whale.
Heave away, all away. We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All away, you rolling king. Heave away, all away. All away, you hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
There's just one thing that's on my mind.
Heave away, all away.
Leaving Grania Whale behind.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
All the way, you rolling king. Heave away, all the way, all the way, you hear me sing. Bound for Newport town.
Hey!
All the way, you rolling king.
Heave away, all away.
All the way, you hear me sing.
Sing, we're bound for Newport town. Hey!
Can you make way for Brian Rula? Mayo, I was born.
Heave away, all away.
Out on a Bay on a winter's morn.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All away, you rolling king. Heave away, all away. All away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
'Twas out there on the blue bay.
Heave away, all away.
There I met young Grania Whale.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All away, you rolling king. Heave away, all away. All away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
There's just one thing that's on my mind.
Heave away, all away.
Is leaving Grania Whale behind.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All away, you rolling king. Heave away, all away. All away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
All the way, you rolling king.
Heave away, all away. All away, you'll hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
Good people of Newport, I'm so happy to see so many faces here today. Some pretty, some not so pretty. I really do mean that. I'm so glad to see you here in my town of Newport. And it is my town. I bought it from Medlicott, and I own from Kilmena all the way to Ballycroy. And if you're standing here today, it means you're paying me rent. This is why I'm one of the richest men in Ireland. I don't want to brag, but that's my helicopter. I'd also like to thank you all for coming here today. This means so much to me. Having searched for this manuscript for almost 100 years. I'd like to thank Brother Michael from travelling so far afield as Flanders, along with Captain Jack and his sailors. Can we get a round of applause for the sailors? Now, before I go any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Sir Neil O'Donnell. The handsome Neil O'Donnell, as I like to be called. Now, my people were the Earls of Tyrone and Ulster, and I can trace my lineage back to Niall of the 9 hostages who brought St. Patrick here to Ireland. Do you know who St. Patrick is? Good. My family brought him here, and you can thank me for that later. Now, for a little history lesson. We all know how the English came into Ireland. Well, it was my family that fought against them. The Gaelic chiefs of Ireland, the O'Donnells, the O'Neills. We fought, and we fought well. However, it's hard to hold back a tide. The English kept coming. And in 1607, when we could fight no more, and we needed foreign help, my family and the other chieftains went abroad to France, Italy, Spain, looking for Catholic help. Help was late coming, and what help did come, wasn't much good to us. My family fled Ulster in 1650 and landed here in Mayo, in a place called Smuggler's Cove down in Ballycroy. Now, I know what you're saying. How is this man so rich? If he was driven from his homeland in 1650 and 100 years later, the richest man in Ireland. I know the rumours. I know what you've been saying. You've accused me of being a smuggler, and I've heard you. You told me that I brought in the cheapest brandy, the cheapest wine, and the cheapest tobacco. Nothing cheap about it. It was the finest brandy, the finest whiskey, and the finest tobacco. And that's how I have what I have. You see, with the penal laws, my family could not make an honest book. We were forced to do what we had to do. Catholics, we weren't allowed to go to school. We weren't allowed to buy land. We weren't allowed to lease land. So, if you can't beat them, join them. I became a Protestant, and I anglicised my name. No longer was I the O'Donnell, D-O-N-N-E-L-L, as some of you may be here. I am Sir Neil O'Donnell, and I spell my name with one L and one L. Now that I became a Protestant, I can invest all my ill-gotten gains here in Newport House. This quaint little summer residence with 10 master bedrooms, 2 sculleries, 2 kitchens, 2 sitting rooms, and 2 drawing rooms. It's easier that way. We keep the women in one drawing room and the men in the other. This leads to happy marriages. Women can talk about knitting and sewing and embroidery and flowers, and the men can talk about horses and women. Now, enough about me. Let me explain what this Cathach is. Thank you, Brother Michael. This silver, jewel-encrusted box contains a manuscript that was penned by St. Columkill himself, one of the 3 patron saints of Ireland. And we know it as the Cathach. Now, Brother Michael, can I hand it back to you? It's very precious. The Cathach is an Irish term for a battler. And it is said that the O'Donnells carried this very manuscript into every battle they fought. Before they went into battle, a monk would circle them 3 times, hold the Cathach aloof, and say prayers from the Psalms. And if done correctly, it was said that the O'Donnells would never, ever lose a battle. I'm not sure if this is entirely true. Now, who wrote the Cathach? You've all heard of Columkill. Now, Columkill was a young monk in Donegal, in Moville County, Donegal, and he worked as a scribe, and he worked in a scriptorium. Now, a scribe is someone who writes, and the room that he writes in is a scriptorium. Now, to spread the word of God, Bibles had to be copied, manuscripts had to be copied. Columkill was one of the best. Now, Columkill was a bit of a devil at the same time. He copied this manuscript without permission of Brother Finian. When Finian found out, he was furious, and he demanded that Columkill give back the Cathach. Columkill escaped that very night and took the Cathach with him home to Northern Ireland, up to the safety of the Earls of Tyrone, up to where the O'Neills were, and he knew he was safe. However, Brother Finian, being the cute whore that he was, he went to King Diarmid, the High King of Ireland. This was the first copyright case in the world. That is true. So, King Diarmid, the High King of Ireland, compelled the 2 parties to come back to court. Columkill. So Diarmuid listened to the case, and he ordered the Fenian receive the Cathach back. Columkill was not happy. Diarmuid ruled, to every cow belongs her calf, to every book belongs her copy. Now again, Columkill absconded that very night and took the book with him back up north. A war ensued. Battles were fought. The final battle was fought on the hills of Ben Bulben in Sligo. You know the mountain, the flat mountain, the sliding mountain with Queen Maeve buried on top. Columkill viewed this battle, and he could not get over how many people had died, all for the sake of one book. And it is said that Columkill never recovered for seeing such bloodshed. So many people dying for the sake of one book. A couple of years later, he moved off to Iona, and he became a famous missionary monk, spreading the Catholic faith all over the world. In the 11th century, this book was entrusted to my family, the family of the O'Donnells, as I have said. Born in blood, born in controversy, but ours nonetheless. In 1690, at the Winnimite Wars, at the Siege of Limerick, where the English pounded on the gates of Limerick, again the O'Donnell family fought against the English. But it's impossible to hold back a tide. The English eventually made their way into the city. Colonel Daniel O'Donnell, not to be confused with wee Daniel, escaped with this very book. He, his Irish and his French troops returned to France. But on his way, he decided to make one stop in Flanders, in a famous Irish monastery called Louvain, where he entrusted this book to the monks so they would hold it in safekeeping. Sadly, Colonel Daniel O'Donnell, again not wee Daniel, didn't survive the next battle. And this book was lost for 100 years. And today, on the 1st of May in 1801, it returns here to Newport. Now, this book is a direct link to the past. It was written by Columkill himself. It predates the Book of Kells by 100 years. This book will stay in Newport for 41 years, when eventually my son will give it to the Royal Irish Academy for its safekeeping and restoration. This book is available to be seen today in Dublin, and it can be seen online, whatever that is. Okay? Thank you very much, and a round of applause for the sale.
Mayo, I was born.
Evil way, all the way.
Out on Clubay on a winter's morn.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All the way, you rolling king. Evil way, all the way. All the way, you hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
'Twas there I met young Grania Whale.
Evil way, all the way.
Out on Clubay in winter's day.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All the way, you rolling king. Evil way, all the way. All the way, you hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
There's just one thing that's on my mind.
Evil way, all the way.
Leaving Grania Whale behind.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All the way, you rolling king. Evil way, all the way. All the way, you hear me sing. We're bound for Newport town. Hey!
And as we walloped round Clubay,
Evil way, all the way.
we prayed to God to show the way.
We're bound for Newport town. Hey! All the way, you rolling king.
O'Donnell. Thank you, Captain Jack. Thank you to the monks, especially to Monk Michael, who came all that great distance from Leuven. And as he said, the actual copy of the Book of Psalms, the Cathach, is in the Royal Irish Academy. I would encourage you to go and knock on the door and say, I am from Newport. I demand to see it. Now, Brian Rua.
Yes.
Let us continue our perambulations up the main street.
Okay.
I think we will visit a very interesting business at the top of the town.
Good.
Let's go.
Let's go and Donald is a bit of a boast, is he not?
Well, you know, I suppose he made his money in dubious circumstances. And, well, perhaps he feels that he, has the power. He is the man. And the O'Donnells did continue for almost 100 years. But you know what happened to them? They ran out of male heirs.
Yes.
And thus came to an end the O'Donnells. But there was another man in waiting, a man called Martin Carey. Now, Martin Carey arrived in Newport sometime in the late 19th century. And by the time he was finished his businesses, he owned a corn drying store on Georgia Street. He owned a timber mills out on the Castlebar Road. And he also owned some shipping down on the quay. And of course here, where Newport Pharmacy is today, this was what we call the Carey-Walsh building, though originally it was just Martin Carey himself. We will probably find out why it became Carey-Walsh.
Yes, and he gave a lot of money to the church, I believe.
Yes, the church which we have referred to at the top of the main street, that church is called St. Patrick's, and he gave £10,000 towards the building of that church.
But Mr. Pratt, well, there are other churches.
Ah, that's an interesting question. Newport is a very ecumenical town. There were, first of all, the Quakers who arrived here. Of course, there were Roman Catholics who had a church up here on the left, and there were Church of Ireland people. There were also Presbyterians, and there were for a time some Methodists in the town. And one other very interesting sect, Derbyites.
Derbyites?
Yes, a very, very strong traditional Protestant sect which were modelled on the Pilgrim Fathers who went to America all those years ago. The Derbyites.
Yes, Derbyites. They didn't make it to Balmullet, I fear.
I'm not so sure. I think you might be right there. So, here we go. We are almost here at our final part of our reenactment, if you like to call it that, our little history of the town. We are here to see what we call the Carey-Walsh emporium.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Martin Carey was in his 20s at the height of the Great Famine. One of 6 children born to Daniel and Mary, his birthing site was in Drimlong, just outside the town of Newport. His interest in business started at a young age, when he set out selling flour, grain and tea from the window of a small building on Chapel Street. After seeing the heartbreaking scenes of famine, fever, starvation, evictions, and the spirits of the people diminished, he wanted to help, he wanted to rebuild, and he wanted to give hope. He did so by buying a business on the main street, followed by a cluster of buildings that housed a grain store, sawmill, and mill cottages. He married his wife, Julia. Martin's business empire had begun. He had changed the face of the town and the area, and he had become the envy of other merchants throughout this country at the time. He was known for his kindness, compassion, and his given nature. In this short reenactment, the following themes and exchanges take place in the store. It's a sunny May morning in 1905. the cargo ship is expected to arrive at the quay, and a young local lad, Pat Kelly, runs into the shop to announce the ship's arrival and asks for a day's work. Mr. Carey, what time is the cargo ship expected in at?
10 minutes to 9.
The cargo ship is in. Kelly, how are you?
Mr. Carey, the cargo ship is in. Do you have any work for me today?
Are you not at school today? Again, go over to John there and he'll fix you up with a job. Good boy.
He's a grand laddie.
Ah, he's a wonderful lad.
All right. Go down to the ship.
Oh, they're going on. Ah, Miss Gibbons.
Fine cargo, I think.
Ah, great. I'm very pleased with it.
Yes. 2 baggers each.
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I believe there's a great cargo of timber on that as well, Mr. Carey.
Yeah.
Isn't Jimmy Burke coming to call you today to talk to you about the business?
Thanks for reminding me, Miss Gibbons.
Jimmy Burke, the Mayo News reporter.
Morning. Can I help you? Come over. My name is Patrick Walsh.
Jimmy Burke of the Mayo News. I'm here to interview Mr. Carey about his business. I believe he's expecting me.
He sure is. Come over this way with get you a chair.
Jimmy, you're very welcome.
How are you, Jimmy? How are you doing?
Mr. Carey, nice to see you.
Down there, Jimmy.
Ah,
Martin, I hope to write a piece about you in next week's Mayo News.
fine. That's grand. That's great.
Tell me, Jimmy, how did you start up your business?
Well, I was about 26 years of age, and it was after the famine, and there was nothing here but poverty, squalor, and death. And the stench of death in Bereshul was absolutely terrible. I had to do something for the people of Bereshul. So I started selling tea, tobacco, and flour from a little window up in Chapel Street. And then I took me ass and cleave, and I started selling tea and tobacco from house to house in the parish, and a little bit further as well. And then a great opportunity came along for me. I got a job in Australia. I got the opportunity to go to Australia. I turned it down because I was thinking here about the people of Bereshul. So I went to Westport then and I served me time in Hastings. I got a bit of money together and I came down then and I got the shop. I opened the little shop here, and after a while then I brought in the timber yard and then the sawmill down Castlebar Road and the mill cottages.
Tell me, Martin, I heard the cargo ship you're finding the deal was docked in Newport this morning.
Oh yes, I'm so delighted because I'm expecting a consignment of Bangor slates, the best slates in the world, and only the best for Bereshul.
Yes, sir. I look forward to writing the article in next week's paper.
Oh, I'm looking forward to reading it as well.
To talk to you, Mr. Carey.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
All the best now, Jimmy. We'll see you again. Yes, thanks for calling.
Patrick, let me show you up. Thank you, sir.
Call again sometime.
I will, sir. Thank you. No problem.
Fine young man, Miss Gibbons.
Oh, he's a fine young man.
Fine young man.
Mr. Carey, I just wanted to remind you that Canon Greedy will be calling here tomorrow to discuss the donation of the church, the money that you're going to be giving him for the church.
Oh, thanks for reminding me of that too as well. I'd almost forgotten it. He's the man I want to see now at the moment.
Yeah. And he'll be here in the afternoon.
Good. What time?
Oh, I think it's 3 o'clock.
Good,
It's
good,
3 o'clock,
good,
Mr.
great.
Carey. Wasn't it awful sad news about poor Bridie Lavelle's husband, Mr. Carey?
Oh, I heard that not too long ago. Poor Paddy, he worked with us here.
He did. He was a great worker.
Ah, he was brilliant.
Oh, I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to get the other side of him, though, I can tell you. When
He was
he
a
started.
total gentleman.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Total gentleman.
Do you know something? Do I see them coming up the street? Is that Bridie Lavelle and Agnes?
It's Agnes's with her.
Oh, hello there. Hello,
Let me
Bridie,
help
and
you
you're
with that,
welcome.
Agnes.
It's lovely to see you.
Ah, Bridie, I'm so sorry about poor Paddy. When he worked here with us, he was a great worker. Oh, I'm so sorry, Agnes. How are you all now after the death?
I'm heartbroken over the death of my husband.
Don't worry about that, sure. John, will you take Bridie and Agnes and bring her out and fix her up with a coffin? Don't worry about it, Bridgie. Don't worry about it. Just go off with John now. Go off with John. And he'll take care of you. Lord, to mercy on his poor soul.
Make way, make way.
God bless you, Bridie. I'll talk to you. I'll see you at the funeral, Bridie. God bless you.
Patrick, come over here. I want to talk to you.
1 minute now, Mr. Carey.
Take up a seat there and sit down beside me.
Yes, Mr. Carey.
Patrick, you're a fine young man. And you have a good head on your shoulders. You're a brilliant worker. And you've served me well down the years. I have a proposition for you, Patrick.
What would that be, Mr. Carey?
Are you walking out with any young lady at the moment?
Oh, Mr. Carey, you put me on the spot. I'm a very private person. And I normally wouldn't speak about that with anyone. But since you've been like a father to me, I will tell you, yes, I am seeing someone at the moment.
Is it true, Patrick, that you're courting Bridget Smith, our manageress?
Oh, you have me on the spot. But you know, I cannot deny it. Bridget is a fine woman, and I have been walking out with her for some time. I am very fond of Bridget, Mr. King.
Now, Patrick, if you marry Bridget, you can become my manager. And you will be on charge of all the business here. The timber yard, the sawmill on Castlebar Road, and the little mill cottage, and the grain stores on Georgia Street. Now, it's a responsible job, but I know that with Bridget on your side, you will make a great partnership among the two of you. What do you think of that now, Patrick?
Well, Mr. Carey, I'll be honest with you, I'm speechless. That's a very grand offer. And for you to show such trust in me, to continue with your business, I am very honoured. And I would gladly accept, but unfortunately, first I have to ask Bridget, will she marry? And before I do that, I have to ask her father for her hand in marriage, because I would like to do things right. So as soon as I have news, I will get back to you with an answer.
Fine, that's great.
But I am very, very grateful.
And you deserve everything. You deserve everything, Patrick.
Mr. Carey, thank you very much.
You have been my right-hand man for ages. Well, goodbye, goodbye. Here now, I'll just give you a shilling here now. There you are. Now, I have something here for your mother, for you to take home to your mother as well. And will you tell her I was asking for her? Now, Miss Smith, where's Miss Smith? I want to ask, will you get some bacon, set up some bacon for her, and some flour as well, to take home to his mother. And, Pat, it's important that you go to school and get educated. And there's work for you here anytime you want.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Pat.
Aye, brilliant. Brilliant, lad. Brilliant, lad.
Thank you for listening. We now are going to go off and get ready for the wedding of Patrick Welch and Bridget Smith. The music will start, so you can enjoy that, and you can join us for some dance and reception just up here at the top.